Pop culture gal. That's me. I'm pop culture gal. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. So last month, the 23rd of September, was actually Be Visibility Day. Well, I was busy moving across Europe, so I couldn't do anything to celebrate this day. So I'm doing it now, a little bit late. I thought that for the occasion I could actually do the buy book tag that was made by Books with Leo. I'll put the link down below of her channel, and it's a book tag to talk about queer books, and it's centered on bisexuality. So the first category is confusion. A lot of people think bisexual are just confused. Spoiler alert. We're not. But sometimes sexuality can be a confusing thing when you are just figuring it out. Name a book character who is also going through a journey of figuring things out. So for this category, I want to talk again about We Are Okay by Nina Lacour, which is a tremendous book. It's very short, but it's very emotional. And the main character is actually going through a journey of figuring out why she left and what she wants to do and how to connect with people around. It's a beautiful story about grief and history and how your past is an important part of yourself but shouldn't define the entirety of your identity. And she's going through all this path when she has an old friend that comes to see her, and they talk about everything. You know, in a couple of days she has to face her past, her decisions, and how it changes everything. So, but it's a beautiful book. Yes, I cried. It's beautiful and it's queer, it's sapphic. One of the characters, actually out of the two main characters, the main character is the lesbian and the secondary character is bisexual. It's really, really beautiful, and the way it's written is, it's actually feel like you're reading poetry. It's very, very... Second category is first crush, the first queer crush. Name a book with a character in it that totally made you swoon. So let's go back in time. I want to talk about His Dark Materials because I loved this book so much that I actually had a guinea pig when I was younger that I named Lyra because of the main character. I think it probably was my first queer crush. Highly likely. I was obsessed with it, like super obsessed. I still am. I actually reread the book when they did the TV show on HBO. His Dark Materials, and I wanted to read the book before I saw it, and it was really good. Like, as a kid I loved it, and as an adult I loved it in a different way because everything that's in it is... It's hard to describe what this book is about. It's basically an alternate universe where people have their soul outside their body, like their soul is an animal, actually, and that they shift all through their year as a child, and when they become an adult, where their identity sets in, their soul, their demon, as it's called, gets its final form. And it's about a young girl called Lyra who one of her friends goes missing, and so she decided to search for him, and she embarks on this journey to get him and figure out what is happening, and it's amazing. You should absolutely read it. Third category, coming out, that moment when you're ready to acknowledge your sexuality. Name a book that made you want to scream and gush on the top of your lung about to everyone you know. That's easy. Definitely Priory of the Orange Tree. I made my family read it, I make everyone read it. It's this baby, which is quite a hefty read. I have a special relationship with it because I used to read a lot of fantasy when I was younger, and I stopped reading it because I was tired of the misogyny that was around it. But I read this book when it came out. It was the first time I actually saw a lot of diversity in fantasy. It's a feminist fantasy book, and it's queer, and it's amazing. It has dragons and sapphic love. What's not to like about it? It really is an amazing book. It's about a queendom that is absolutely protected by each queen. Like, every time a queen has a daughter, like, they say that the queendom will end when the queen doesn't have a daughter. And so it's about this queen that is faced with a challenge because she has all of this, and it's... just read it. Please, it's amazing. Next category is recognition. Unfortunately, bi erasure is still a thing. Name a book that made you feel seen, valued, and understood. Actually, in literature, bisexuality is more present than in movies or TV shows. I feel like characters are more often labeled actually in literature than they are in audiovisual content, which is great. I mean, but the first book which I read where a bi character was openly bi and said like the word "I am a bisexual woman." Actually, I think she said "I am a Cuban bisexual woman." Is Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. You definitely need to read this one. It's about a former Hollywood star which was famous for her big roles and the fact that she was married 7 times to 7 men. And so she gives this one journalist a chance to interview her about her life. Like, she never let anyone ask her about her marriage and who was actually the big love of her life among her 7 husbands. So this journalist, she goes there and she has the amazing opportunity to interview her about her life and figure out the big secret, you know? What every journalist, every tabloid, every fan out there in the world wants to know. Who is Evelyn Hugo? Love. And so we get into this story and it's about Hollywood, so you see a lot of behind the scenes and it has a lot of very important things talked about. It's great. It's amazing. It's very well written. It's beautiful. You may shed a tear or two or more. One of my best read of 2020. 50-50. Sexuality is fluid and so is bisexuality. Almost no one is 50-50. Name a book about which you're unsure whether you love or hate it. Your own not 50-50 opinion. But for this one, it's Six of Crows. I actually, I heard a lot about it because it was big in the booktube and bookstagram sphere. A friend of mine told me that she didn't like it and everyone else seemed to love it, so I read it and I was like, Like, when I read it, I was like, okay, this is nice. I think I like it. And then, when I thought about it, the more I think about it, the more I think I didn't like it. So it's weird. I'm not sure. Like, I went on my Goodreads scale and I put it down. But I'm very confused about this book. I don't think I liked it, actually. I don't know. It's a 50-50 opinion. I tried to read the second one and I gave up. And, like, the first one ends with a cliffhanger, so, like, the second one, like, you need the second one, and like I started the second one and I just was like, ugh, no. And the final category is community. Finding your place in the community can be hard sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I'm too gay for the straight people and too straight for the gay people, but in the end it's all about finding the right people in life that love you. Sexuality doesn't define you. Name a book with an amazing group of friends community. So for this one, I'll go back to one of my rereads during quarantine, which is Percy Jackson. Because Percy Jackson is amazing. It's one of the books I read when I was young and I loved it so much. It's about Greek mythology. It's about this kid that finds out that his father is a Greek god from Olympia and from Olympus, and he goes on this adventure. Like, people try to kill him. He's accused of stealing Zeus' thunder, and so he goes on this adventure, meets other people, find out that Greek mythology is very much alive. Really, I love this. I knew I loved them when I was a kid and I reread them. I love it so much, and it's great because in the following, actually the first one is very straight, very white, and in the following the author Rick Riordan listened to his fan telling him that they need more diversity, and it adds queer characters. Like the Apollo Trial series, the main character is actually bisexual, and it's still like the same universe, and some characters come back, and you know, it feels like home. It feels like a community. The fandom online is pretty cool, and it's a great book. You know, it's a feel book. It's a go-to when you feel down and you feel bad and you want to read something that makes you happy. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.